Gala.
Here.
Trustee Kelly.
Here.
Trustee Meadow is absent. Trustee Rule is currently not here. Trustee Zick.
Here.
President Smart.
Here. Could we stand for the pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Do we have any public comments? No. All right. How about liaison reports?
Okay, I have reports from the Friends here. So from the Friends, 2023 was a banner year for FOL. We were just over $100,000 in sales. This includes $10,000 from the bookshop and $5,000 from selling the decommissioned AHML computers. The two main projects that we supported this year were the AV upgrade in the Hendrickson room and additions to the Kids World remodel, the floor projector, and the Family Work Center. Membership is 596 members, many new and returning members. The sales are set for 2024, starting with the kids book sale on February 2nd through 4th in the Cardinal Room. And thank you to all for the support in time from all the staff. So that is from the Friends.
Wonderful. Thank you. How about the foundation?
Okay, I do have a report also from the foundation. So from the foundation, all District 214 schools, the Chamber of Commerce, Village of Arlington Heights, and of course the library have been contacted and are helping to spread the word about our scholarship for the trades. Deadline this year is May 1st and has been extended so that they can participate in the District 214 trade fair in mid-April. Date night, just the two of us, happens this Friday, which is a fundraiser over at the Baker Place in the kitchen. Even with some major website issues that they had, they just about sold out of the program. Their development team is working to develop a new type of fundraiser at the Baker Place to celebrate International Women's Day. We'll be sending out save the date and flyers with more information to our donors on Saturday, January 20th, and it will be in the March newsletter. They will also be adding in the marketing by the entrepreneurs who will be speaking and showcasing the event. That is what I have from the foundation.
Wonderful. Thank you. All right. Moving on. I'm looking at for approval for the minutes of the regular board meeting from December 19th.
So moved.
So moved. Second. Second. Can I have a roll call, please?
Trustee Burrell.
Yes.
Trustee Gala.
Yes.
Trustee Kelly.
Aye.
Trustee Zick.
Yes.
President Smart.
Aye. All righty. The next thing on our agenda is the financial report for the period ending December 31st.
Okay. For December, real estate tax revenue totaled $4,710,223.03. The library received personal property replacement taxes in the amount of $14,688.27. We also received $866.22 of cash in lieu of land from the village in December. The copier printer revenue totaled $4,002.96. Meeting room fees were $350. Lost item charges totaled $920.21. December interest income was $39,589.40. Friends of the Library reimbursed us $22,213.38. A large reimbursement this month was again primarily for the Henderson room AV equipment. Revenue collected for vehicle stickers totaled $444.49. Stickers that were sold in December that tied with the previous record for a single month sale, which was June. The Maker Place miscellaneous revenue was $999.64, and our total revenue collected in December was $4,794,541.71. On the expense side, 100% of the fiscal year has lapsed, and we've expensed 88% of our total operating budget. Our favorable variance to date is $1,370,874, and 53% of our total annual capital budget has been expensed as of December. Also, just a financial note, the HCM and the payroll module for the new ERP system went live with the first paycheck of 2024. So employees can now access their pay stubs electronically from a PC or their mobile device, and hours of bi-weekly manual work for the finance team has been eliminated as a result. Implementation continues on the other aspects of the module, and the library's HR team meet regularly with the village regarding the project.
How did that roll out go?
Very well, yeah, at least from our perspective, I mean, things went very well. Everybody got their pay stubs and their benefit letters and all that. So, yeah. That is all I have for financial review.
How about the check register?
Hey, just had a couple of texts to point out here. On page 3, check 101845 to Libraries of Illinois Risk Agency, also known as LIRA, in the amount of $120,293.04. That is for property and casualty insurance renewal premiums for the 2024 year as a member of the LIRA Cooperative. Due to the hard insurance market driven by catastrophic claims and higher reinsurance rates, premiums have been increasing. However, LIRA members continue to experience better than market renewals on average. On page 4, check 101876, risk program administrators in the amount of $49,730. That is for our workers' compensation insurance renewal premiums for the 2024 year as a member of the LIRA Cooperative. The workers' compensation insurance is invoiced separately from the other packaged coverages. On page 14, check 101776 to ASSA Abloy Entrance Systems in the amount of $5,049. That was to repair the sliding doors in the core entrance on the north side. We had a bad gearbox assembly and the doors weren't working. So that was that. On page 49, check 101831 to JB Metalworks in the amount of $5,500. That is for a new safety railing at the rear stairwell of the Maker Place. That was budgeted for 2023. So that was installed at the end of the year. That is all the questions I had on the check register.
All right. May I have a motion to approve our financials?
I move approval for the accounts payable check register for the Arlington Heights Memorial Library for December 31st, 2023 in the amount of $2,501,998.49.
I'll second it.
All right, could I have a roll call, please?
Trustee Burrell?
Yes.
Trustee Fallon?
Yes.
Trustee Kelly?
Aye.
Trustee Zick?
Yes.
President Smart?
Aye. All right. Your executive director report.
All right, I've got a few things to highlight here. On the first page of the director's report, we have new study rooms in the hub. Our teens now have 2 study rooms to use in the hub. Since opening to customers in mid-December, the hub study rooms have been used 37 times and saw heavy use during the library's final study lounge. Teens are loving the installed dry erase boards, and rooms have been used for a variety of collaborative and independent activities. Hub study room seat 4 are available by request at the hub desk. On that same page, the new rear stairwell fence has been installed at the Makerspace. Our facilities staff oversaw the installation of the new space-efficient metal fence at the Maker Place exterior's rear exit. The new smaller footprint of the metal fence now facilitates easier entry into the Maker Place parking lot for customers. The fence is scheduled to be painted a high visibility color in the spring to enhance safety and aesthetics. So with that, the fence was basically on the outside of the stairwell before. When replacing that, we moved it in as far as we could to minimize damage to vehicles as they make that corner. It's kind of tight corner.
So I never knew that, but that's an actual, is that an entrance and an exit right there? Or
It
just an
is,
exit?
it's an exit. It's in the boiler room.
Oh,
so
so
it's not like
it's an emergency exit.
Yeah.
Like, it's not an exit people are gonna be using. regularly.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I was just like, wait, I could get in from the parking lot.
You go through the boiler room. All right, then on the next page, page 2, we ended the year with another CADS Meals event at the Maker Place Kitchen. This time, members of Journeys Advisory Board joined, sharing insights about Journeys, PADS, and ways to keep supporting those facing challenges in the community. 10 volunteers had a great time making pasta, turkey, and packing lunch bags for over 50 individuals. The cooked meal donations were dropped off to a new PAD site, a collaboration between Journeys and St. John United Church. Then on page 4, on Thursday, December 14th, more than 220 film fans gathered for Dan Geyer and Raymond Benson's final movie club event ever, including a celebration of their 16-year legacy at the library. Dan and Raymond were, as always, in fine form and enjoying themselves immensely, despite it being a bittersweet moment. At the end of the show was a celebration produced and hosted by our programs and exhibits assistant, Jace Semla. And a wonderful crew of volunteers supported the full house event, including Friends of the Library, Kim Traxler, who presented Dan and Raymond each with a framed memento poster featuring a collage of the library's posters throughout the years, and a cake adorned with the playful piano from a recent library photo shoot. Kim said a few words of thanks on behalf of the friends and led the crowd in a round of applause. Attendees clearly appreciated the fanfare and opportunity to celebrate the duo's success. So this was a longstanding, very popular movie club at the library, and so we're sad to see them go. All right, then on page 7, the Almost New Year's Disco brought 140 customers in the Hendrickson Room for a family-friendly dance party to celebrate 2024. Kids aged 2 through 6 and their grown-ups created New Year's crowns to get the party ready, added some paint to the 2024 mural, and then danced the day away. After some boogie-worthy books and a countdown to noon rather than to midnight, youth services staff led the big finale, a balloon drop with take-home stars for everyone. The only things shining brighter than the disco balls were the kids' smiles. And on the next page, Chef Grace Gowdy joined the Maker Place for 4 sessions of her popular Chef's Choice class in December. Grace's Chef's Choice classes are known for their seasonal recipes, and December was no exception. Grace walked the class through making homemade marshmallows and over-the-top decadent hot chocolate. A total of 67 attendees warmed milk and cocoa, while Grace showed them many ways the hot cocoa recipe can be used this winter. Cozy treat at home as a fun addition to holiday parties, or even to make as a gift as a homemade gourmet gift. Today would be a great day to do so. All right, then just below that, December is a busy month for Maker Place staff working with the community members on projects and gifts. The Maker Place also sees a lot of foot traffic from new users on holiday break. To facilitate newcomers to the Maker Place, staff created 5 passive pop-up craft programs or projects for curious makers to work on independently. In December, 131 projects were made at the pop-up stations, which included stamp carving, greeting card making, seasonal button making, a gift wrapping station, and cross-stitched wooden ornaments. All right, then on page 10, I just want to highlight the vehicle stickers. So circulation staff issued 407 stickers throughout the year, which was a 21% increase from 2022. Customers often share their appreciation for the library offering this convenience. And I do hear this in the community quite a bit, that people really appreciate having that, the ability to renew those stickers at the library. That is everything I had for the director's report. If you guys have any questions or want to add anything, happy to discuss.
Trustees.
Yeah, just really quick, Mike, on the financials we asked for. And I know these aren't the final numbers, and you're probably gonna wish Trixie was here, so asking these questions, but oh, well, sorry. First of all, the taxes have we gotten everything that we're gonna be able to add in for this year?
I think we're pretty close. Showing here, we've collected 99%.
Yeah.
So we're pretty close. That's pretty consistent with what we've received in the past with previous years.
But there's nothing that's still coming in because the tax bills went out late and were paid.
Yeah, it might be. I don't know. I can't answer that one, without Tracy here, but I know we've got to be getting pretty close.
Okay. So when I look at the actuals here, the 15.9 is what we actually had in revenue.
Mhm.
And so 15.6, we're going to, so that's a surplus of 300,000.
Mhm.
But if I'm reading this right though, for what we budgeted for interest, that's really what pulled it. If we hadn't had all that interest, we would have actually been under our expenditure, or under our revenue for the year, right?
Yes.
If I'm looking at this all right?
Yeah, I believe you are correct.
Okay. Yeah, it was quite a year for interest. Okay.
It'd be pretty close. We were about 450,000 over. We were over in almost every other area. With the exception of the intergovernmental.
And the intergovernmental, is that still the, what was it called? to get through the village for,
Is
yeah,
the PPRT?
yeah.
I'm not sure. I think it is PPRT.
And that's
I'll
the-
verify that.
That's the final number for that, I believe. I thought that I had asked Tracy and we're still expecting some tax money.
Okay, that's it. I know, I don't want to do too much on that. I'm just curious. I know
She'll be
the
able to-
I know the final numbers still need to come
Yeah, I
out.
was gonna say, she'll be able to give you better info, at the next meeting, or we can send out an email with some follow-up.
We can talk next time. That's okay.
Okay.
Well, we can-
The one thing when I went through and kind of looked at all the numbers, we budget so well. Like there was one line item that was 10 cents like over or under budget. I mean, that's amazing. The only thing was the health insurance. And I just kind of discussed it with Tracy and Mike. We get that, we work through the village for that, but we were $75,000, almost 76,000, $75,000 over budget. So that's something that I know we're gonna really work hard on, and there were some reasons for that, but,
So we were over budget on that, and our budget number, so when we go through our budget, the village gives us kind of a preliminary number, and they kind of tweak it as we go, and then they give us a final number. That number that ended up in the budget was the preliminary number, it was not the final number, so I don't know if we didn't get the final number in time or what happened there. But the number was what it was supposed to be for the insurance, it's just what was reflected in the budget was not correct,
Right.
it was 75,000 low.
right, but we still get charged for how the number of staff that we anticipate.
Right.
Which is not the number of staff that we have. We're usually one or two people short. So I feel like we should not have to pay that extra money to the village because we're not getting the health insurance for that. But, it's really, for all of these line items, it's pretty amazing how well you all forecasted. So, that's terrific. Anyone else, Brett?
No, good.
Yeah, yes.
I had a quick question on the stats on page 9. So like the third paragraph there. So when you're saying the staff searched for 7,600 in library items on Google. Excuse me, I just want to make sure I'm understanding that correctly. Is that like someone comes in and like goes to the shelf and is like, I want the latest novel or no?
Those are probably items that they search for in the catalog and were able to fulfill. Shannon just happened to be here. Yeah, manager, do you want to speak to that?
Sure, so we search for things that people place on hold through the catalog, in addition to holds that are placed that when we check an item in, it triggers a hold. So
Oh,
that
okay.
is actually holds placed in the catalog by accident.
Okay, so that's like someone being like, oh, I heard about this book, it's not available, I'm gonna put a hold on
Yeah.
it. Okay, thank you.
Nice. The other thing that I noticed going through this that I just, caught my eye or caught my attention. I loved and maybe we talked about it last time because they were on display, the tiny art show. I thought that was really fun. And it was such a wide range of people that did art and such a, different types of art. And, I just think that's amazing how talented people are and that it attracted so much. And the other thing that, since school was canceled a couple times in the last week, the museum and attraction passes, I think, are such a great service that we offer to the community. And I know for a year or two, maybe we didn't have it.
It was quite a few years.
And I kind of went through and looked. I mean, you can get tickets to the Goodman Theater to shows, 2 tickets a month for free with your library card. That's amazing. And just, the kids' museums and the zoos and all that, the Chicago Botanic Garden, that seems to me like a wonderful thing to promote as well, because that really saves families or parents or people that like plays, that saves them real money. So anyway, I love that. All right, anyone else? All right, thank you.
Okay, so next up, I'd like to invite Catalina Shin, our community engagement liaison, up. She is going to talk to us about building relationships with the Spanish-speaking audience in our area. So Catalina has a couple of slides here I'll bring up.
while the slides come on. Catalina, remind us how long you've been here, because you were here and then you left and then we got you back, right?
Yeah, so it's been a little over 2 years since I got back. And so, first of all, thank you. Thank you so much for having me here. And I'm Catalina Shen. I'm the Community Engagement Liaison for the library. These, I will keep it short and sweet, but please feel free to ask questions along the way. No worries about, interruption or anything like that. This first presentation actually was inspired by the first time that I attended a national conference, and that happened last year in January. I went to Live Learn X in New Orleans, and you get so creative with a lot of the things that you see there that other libraries are doing, and at the same time, it inspires you to kind of like validate that what we're doing here is really good too. So it made me really proud to see that, oh, we're doing something right. And from that, I created a poster that was submitted this summer at ALA. So what you guys have there is a mini, like a copy of what the poster looked like. It was designed by the graphic designer, Stephanie Bautista, and this was, again, a 91 by 45 poster, this past summer in ALA. So why is it La Biblioteca or La Libreria? And why this has to do with the way that we are building relationships with the Spanish-speaking audience in our area. When I started doing some of the outreach and the events, and I started interacting with Spanish speakers, I noticed that that word libreria, which can be translated into English as library, is very difficult to kind of like, and it can be very misinterpreted by the Spanish population because it technically means bookstore. And when we were outside of the library offering services in Spanish-speaking settings, like when we went to the Misión San Juan Diego Church, or when we're doing outreach in the farmers market and the Spanish speakers come to us, people ask, are you selling something? Is this free? Just because that word libreria and library tricks them a little. The right word in Spanish is biblioteca, for what we consider library services, and bookstore is for what Spanish speakers consider libreria. So I use that misconception to actually have friendly conversations with people and engage and tell them in a friendly way, like, I know that this makes no sense, but this is a free service and this is public, and you live in this area and you can have a library card. And I was like telling them a lot of things, and people was like, you gotta be kidding me, like this is not possible. How can it be so good? And that also comes from the fact that it could be with Spanish speakers or any other type of audience that we're trying to engage in library services. It's important to understand that the way libraries look in their home countries, not necessarily look at the community hub that we have here. And we are a library that offers so much. We offer even more than many other libraries in our areas, in our area. So that's kind of like another thing why it is very important to acknowledge, like the differences between these two terms, kind of like highlighting that unique role that we have in the community, and use that as a friendly conversation with them. So as a native Spanish speaker myself, and as an immigrant, I use that to connect through outreach, through partnerships, and talk to people in the community about that difference between American libraries and bibliotheques. This is something that I did not touch during my poster at ALA, but I thought that it was important for us to recognize and look at the numbers about the Spanish population here in Arlington Heights and how it's growing. It is one of the second race ethnicities with the highest population, second or third, and it is on its way up. we have seen an increment in newcomer families moving to this area that speak Spanish, and we see these tech definitely growing. So right now we're looking at, there's a 9%, over a 9%, over 7,000 people in our community that might still have that misconception of like, my libreria, is it my bookstore, is it my biblioteca? So one of the things that I noticed was that a lot of the people that are new is the people that we start working on, you know, this is what a biblioteca looks like, this is what you can get out of the Arlington Heights Memorial Library, this is what, the services that, are accessible to you. Those who have lived here for a longer time, see the library services more as a place where you can bring your children, the kids area is fantastic, but they don't really see a lot of services to themselves, and that comes because there's another tricky word for Spanish speakers, and that's the word adults. So when we talk about materials for adults, or events for adults in Spanish, we have to be very careful in the way that we say it, in the way that we promote it. Even when we're doing the outreach, if I'm telling a family, oh yes, we have these programs, come to Kids World, and we also have something for everyone, right? And we have something for adults. If I tell them that there's materials for adults and events for adults in Spanish, it might be misunderstood and associated with some explicit content. So it is very important to kind of play with the words a little bit. So again, we need to be intentional and inclusive with the language that we use when we're engaging in brands. Just because American translation wouldn't really do it. We kind of need to know our audience and know what is that they need and how they do see the library world. So in that sense, my recommendations have always been, let's use that, for example, these are materials for adults. So materiales para adultos, películas para adultos. Although it is tricky. They feel it is tricky because it's always been, it's a cultural thing. They never really got events for adults at their local libraries. It's just like something that blows our mind. So we gotta go through that perspective that it's important to kind of like go from the beginning. Okay, let's explain over and over again what's a library, what are library services. Never assume exactly that everyone knows just because they're here. Another important thing to that I love to address when I'm doing outreach and in community engagement of the Spanish speakers is that the Hispanic population is not monolith. There's so much diversity. It could be so rich and there's so many cultural backgrounds. So the way that people from Mexico will see our services might be very different from the way that someone from Argentina might see them as well, or someone from Central America. So or someone from Spain, even when they have, where libraries there are like museums and no one can even touch or speak loud, or that they also just have beautiful libraries as well. So in that sense, kind of like acknowledging that it could be the same audience and I'm doing community engagement, but at the same time, I need to be mindful that not because they speak Spanish, they're the same people. It's not like one size fits all. And to finalize, I wanted to share some examples of local connections and partnerships that we've been able to do. Something that I'm very proud that we've been able to do at this library is connect with a local church. I always think that if we want to meet a specific audience, we gotta try to be there where they trust, a community place where they feel safe, trusted. And we've been really good at attending an annual festival in this community that's in the north side of Arlington Heights. Even our executive director was part of it last summer as well, bringing the bookmobile to them, use assisting them in using our library conference for their meetings. That was something that they didn't know they could do. And so now they have some of their, meetings here, which is great. With the bookmobile services, that was kind of like the eye opening of getting to know that audience. Because the first time that we brought the bookmobile, people will kind of pass by and not even talk. Then people will start like, are you selling something? Then they will get to know what we're really doing. Then, by the time of our 4th or 5th visit, people was already registering their library card or doing checkouts, and then they knew that the bookmobile will be back at these specific places, so they could return their items there. So that's how we build not only a relationship, but we build trust with this audience. We were at pioneers. We were the first library to become members of the Northwest Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. This is a great organization to do or participate in networking events. We have hosted some of those here. They're called El Cafecito, or now that also inspired one of our library staff to have a program called Coffee and Connect. That's not specifically for Spanish speakers, but it is about connecting with entrepreneurs and business owners in our area. It also allowed me to work with staff from legal services and do bilingual business programs, where we were offering programs in Spanish. This was in 2022, we had a virtual program about how to start your own business in Spanish. Adult education, District 214 has been another of our connections and partnerships that I cannot emphasize enough. I know that this is one of those members that we always contacting, and we're always there, but there's so much that we can still get out of there. I noticed that they have a specific group that takes Spanish classes. Their GED is in Spanish. So that was kind of telling me, this is a group of people who are here because they want to either get a better job, they want to have more access to a better life, access to resources. So we started offering financial literacy programs here at the library in collaboration with Info Services. And we had the whole class coming for the past 2 years. And also we will take them on a tour to kind of take that library insight away from them. We were doing those financial literacy programs in Spanish before, and 4 years ago, we had no one showing up. And 3 years ago, we had one person. And this kind of shows how targeted outreach really works, because we were able to have 20 people in the room. And the teachers of these classes really look forward to schedule that. Like they really, it's one of the last sessions of their GED program, and the program finishes with a library visit, a presentation on a financial topic, and a library tour. And the last one is how we can also take advantage of library networking groups. There was also a need in the library staff community in the northwest suburbs for having a space to talk about these services, because there's a lot of library groups that need to talk about youth services, and the libraries are doing programs for kids, but there was not really a space for people that are doing bilingual outreach and that are specifically trying to engage adults. So I was a co-chair for OLA, which is the Hispanic Outreach for Library Access, when it started 4 years ago. And now I attend these bi-monthly meetings safely, because they're fantastic and you get so much out of them. We interact with staff members from Gilboa, from Palatine, Mount Prospect. It's just like a great way to share what we're doing, what they're doing, and how to kind of like understand the Hispanic population a little more. And just to conclude, we've done a terrific job just collaborating. Cross-department collaborations have been another beautiful highlight. We have collaboration with youth services, info services. I couldn't emphasize enough about those business programs and financial programs. Digital services have been great with a Harper partnership that we've been attending, Experience Day event. And even with our ESL department, we have two targeted programs, Hablemos Español, which is one of the only community Spanish speaking groups in the libraries in our area. And we have a specific ESL class called English for Spanish speakers. Yeah, I don't know if you have any questions. Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing all of this and everything that you're doing. I'm just thinking, do you, 'cause just in my own professional experience, when I've been similar situations, that when you're going to these different locations, do you ever have to turn people away for a library card because they're not in your service area? And I mean, as far as when, if a program needs registration, if it doesn't, understandable, or if they need to check out something, or how do you handle that?
That's a great question. I actually encourage them to use the service as much as they can, because if they can always go to their local library, they can register their library with us. So I always tell them, like, you should go to their local library, and you should not miss the opportunity to register that library and utilize those services with us. I tell them that we have very inclusive services. With ESL, we don't request a library card. I also try to explain to people that you don't need to show library cards when you're coming to the building, that you don't really need to share a lot of, like your private information is confidential, and a lot of that, because people get, they're hesitant. It's a public building, it's a government building, it feels intimidating. So I try, again, I feel that connection with people and encouraging them about, this is just come visit, or if you want to schedule a tour, I can always meet you there and kind of show you around. You don't need a library card for that. I don't know if that.
No, that did, and that's what the secondary part was, do you find resistance with, or more hesitation with trying with a library card? Just because, again, it sounds like you're maybe something more official, that you're giving more information, or there might be some element of fear. So do you encounter that?
Yeah, and I tell them that, again, you don't need to have a library card to come to the library, and you don't need to have a library card to use what the library is offering in terms of materials in the building. You need a library card to take stuff home, right? So I usually start with just like, come and visit, see how you like it, come to our program. Most of our programs are very inclusive. So just really try to get the excitement, like that.
And you speak the
No,
but no,
there's- I can give you some examples of how, like, we had a parent that I ran into, and they were taking copies of a book because they didn't have a library card, so they couldn't check out the book. And we found out that they live in unincorporated Arlington Heights, and that their kids were in school and they love coming to the library, and they wouldn't stop coming to the library, but if they wanted to take an item out, they would be making copies. So this is one of the families that we actually worked to get them in one of those library cards through the library. Yeah.
Through their kids.
Okay, exactly. Also, because mom was taking ESL classes, both kids were in school. They're, they need this library card for so many good reasons. So that's an example on how they got it. And at the beginning, they felt really intimidated to even ask. The mom was actually saving, because she knows that we can offer library cards. There's different ways. Either you reside here, you buy one, or you volunteer. And after 20 hours of volunteering with us, you get one library card free. So I try to talk to people in the community, like, there's some ways, like, if you really want to have the library card, because it's something that, really makes a difference for you, and you want to take the extra advantage of having our services, I cannot tell them, well, this is kind of the way that you can. And people, that woman left so proud, like she felt like when she had the car, she felt like, she belonged here. And that's kind of like the feeling that we really want to transmit and help not only Spanish speakers, but all audiences that we connect with.
Well, that's just the example, I mean, of why your role here is so important though, too, and these services that you provide that connection that, that lets that door open a little bit to be able to trust and to feel like, I can be a part of this. So thank you for all you do.
No, thank you, yes.
Kathleen, thank you very much. I've been hearing for a long time, especially in some communities. You pointed it out, you said it, the fact that we're a government agency. And I've always heard the stories of some hesitation of some people who want to come to us because we are a government agency. And it's nice to see you reaching out and doing this, especially since it feels like, and not just in the Hispanic community, it feels like the community is changing, but there's a lot more people where English is a second language coming into this and trying to get everybody to come into this. One thing I was thinking, social media, I don't know if we've done any kind of social media type of things. Are there certain social media outlets where are going towards specific communities that we can start showing wins like this and the good things that we're doing like this to make it seem more feasible for them to want to come in? But
And I feel like we try, when we have, we're part of the festival in San Juan Diego, or we're having an event with the Northwest Chamber of Commerce, or we're having a visit with District 214. I feel like we usually try to have, we highlight this in social media, so it's still out there.
I have a question. Do you, or do we have, Kids World or Youth Services librarians that are bilingual?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's welcoming as well, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And the other thing that caught my eye was the relationship with 214 obviously is super important. As part of the financial literacy, I'm wondering, is there any sort of workshop or assistance with the FAFSA form in Spanish?
So we were working on that with youth services, but we do, now the teen librarian is bilingual and speaks Spanish, but does not need my support that much. But with our previous teen librarian in youth services, we worked on having these in Spanish and these presentations for parents, because at the end, it is the parents that have to understand a little more about the financial situation of going to college and kind of like understanding what that really means for the family. So we offer those in Spanish. I believe now the teen librarian is still doing a great job. It's like having both.
Yeah, that's tremendous. How about, I know Arlington Heights just recently did a resident survey. Do we have, of that 9 point whatever %, do we know where our Hispanic audience is from, like Mexico versus Central America versus South America? Do we have any more specific information?
From what I found, it is, and I can send them more detail, but there is a way that it shows you, Hispanic population that's, that consider themselves like white Hispanics or European Hispanic.
So you can dig a little
Yes,
deeper.
yeah, from what I saw. So they have it for like multi-racial Hispanics. It was another category. There were 3 categories of what I saw, and those 3 together made the 9, a little bit more than 9%. And again, it's growing and it will increase. And the reason why I also wanted to kind of show with Cook County is because we're a library that, again, a lot of people in our community look up to us. And They might not reside here, but they've taken adult education classes in Forest View. They might work at restaurants around here. These seeds are community, so sometimes it's more convenient to them to use this library for many different reasons. So I still wanted to make sure that you guys can see that the Hispanic population, again, is still high. We're talking about 25%.
Yeah.
Nice.
So this is fantastic. I totally recognize you're focusing on, the Spanish speaking population, but, I'm just looking, there's 10% Asian. So I know there is like a pretty large, portion of that is Japanese. Someone told me recently there's a fairly large Korean population in Arlington Heights. I had no idea.
And
Yeah, Polish. So are there other, other kind of like ethnicities or nationalities that, kind of have our eye on to focus on, or, someone else working on that? Just, due to the success of what we've been able to do, the Spanish speaking population, are there
Yeah.
programs going on or plans?
so with our ESL, literacy office, all of our advisors are usually like on top of welcoming anyone that is an immigrant or is an English learner. And in that way, we will, we have a large Japanese community. We host a specific cultural conversation in Japanese.
Okay.
I was part of OBOB last year, 2022, feels like last year, years ago. And we had a big engagement of the Japanese American community. We use that opportunity to kind of engage them more. So yes, I usually when we're collaborating with our community partners, I try to be mindful of the approach of tell me how the library system looks like in your home country.
Okay.
What is it you think about libraries? And that's kind of like the conversation and telling them, what, where I come from, libraries are also not like this.
Okay.
And a lot of people kind of like tells me, oh yeah, and that word bibliothèque is also in French, it's like a Latin word. So it helps with a lot of other languages to connect, to kind of like have the same conversation topic rolling. And yeah.
Okay. No, I think it's also just a great reminder of how lucky we are to live in America and specifically Arlington Heights, because libraries are not like this everywhere.
Yeah, and we use like collaborations like Heritage Fest that we do with the village and the park district. We try to do those to engage in the higher level with all of those other audiences.
Thank you so much. What a wonderful
Thank you for having
presentation.
me.
Thank you for being here. All right, let's see, where are we here? Moving on to the agreement with Williams Architects.
Okay, so I am bringing you a proposal for engaging with our architect, Williams, on the 2024 renovation project that was discussed at the November board meeting. So we showed initial concepts and layouts. What this contract or this agreement will do is allow us to engage with them so they can start working on the drawings for going out to bid and, all that stuff. So Williams has already started kind of working on some of the stuff, obviously with layouts and some of that stuff in 2023. This would be the official contract for this project. The total for the work that they'll be doing is $50,225 plus reimbursable expenses. The expenses are pretty minimal. It's just travel and stuff like that.
Yes.
And again, this is just for the Williams part of it. The full budget is $700,000. As it said in here, this is just 7.7% of what that full 700,000
Exactly. Yep.
is going to be. Now, we've got to budget it, and this is going past the scope of this, I realize that. Are we, when I was looking at the completion of the task phase, are we confident that we're gonna be able to get this all done within this year?
I believe so. We can't really accept bids until, we get the live and learn. Once the live and learn grant is awarded, or, at least we go through the process. So that kind of kicks off going, signing those contracts with the contractors and then working through the restrooms. Most of this work is a lot of tile work and flooring and stuff like that, where I don't see major delays in that stuff. So I think we should be able to do it along this timeline between September and December. We were even talking about maybe even starting a little bit sooner if we could. It's just, we want to time it with the schools, so we're after the schools are back in session, so we're not competing with them for contractors.
Yes.
Just to remind me that that Live and Learn grant is expected around April?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
And how much is that?
50,000.
Any other questions? Do I have a motion?
I would make a motion that the Board of Library Trustees approves entering into a contract with Williams Architects for the 2024 renovation project in an amount not to exceed $50,225 plus reimbursable expenses.
Second.
All right, can we have a roll call, please?
Trustee Barrera,
Yes.
trustee Bella,
Yes.
trustee Kelly,
Aye.
trustee Zip,
Yes.
president Smartman.
Aye. Wonderful.
Right. Thank you.
All right. Other, do you have any other?
The only thing I want to say is, January 8th, we had a grand opening for our Kids World, department, which was fantastic. We had a very good turnout. We had, two celebrations. We had one in the morning, one in the afternoon. I think we had right around 400 people at the, morning one, and I think around, 150 to 200 for the afternoon one. Very well received. The community loves the space. We find the interactives are working exactly like we had hoped. The entrance seems to be working exactly like we had hoped. There were a lot of kids beaming toward the stairs, and then boom, it was just like a force field. It just pulled them away from there, and they either went to the bench or went to the books. So it looks really good. There are a few things that were not completed last year because we were waiting on some parts. The lights were back ordered. So those things will probably extend into 2024. So we can talk about that once we know what that looks like. We have not received the final bills yet for the project, but overall, we will be under budget. We dipped into our contingency, probably about half of our contingency for like some additional flooring and a couple other additional things, some lighting and stuff. But overall, the project went very well, with the exception of those couple things that were back ordered.
Yeah, great social media, great PR. I think it's everything we wanted it to be. I actually, personally, a couple of friends of mine who have grandchildren were like, wow, I haven't been to Kids World in a long time. It was so cool. And I said, well, lucky for you, because we just renovated it. So,
Thank you to Greg and Jen
Yeah.
for coming to the,
Great. Clifford was there.
Yeah, right. I mean,
That's a great
so, yeah.
Clifford was there. Very good. I also wanted to talk about possible dates to suggest to the village for our joint meeting. I think it was the right call to cancel our meeting, particularly since it's not like we have anything that we're concerned about. It's more of a sharing of information. So Janet had some dates that,
February 17th.
right,
And March 16th. So
February
that's the kind of dates we're thinking of, unless there's a lot of objections.
those are.
February 17th.
We would do the Saturday mornings again here, start here, do a tour of Kids World and have the meeting in the Cardinal Room.
I'm sorry, what did you say, February 17th and March what?
16.
I didn't bring my phone with me, so I have to.
Disconnected.
So maybe if you could, let Janet know tomorrow or tonight, if they work for you, that would be great, and then we can throw those to the village. All right. At this time, yes.
Couple of questions. So I saw on Grapevine that we've got the new payroll system is up and running with the village. Everything. I'm glad that it's up and running, but how is it working for us and how is it working for staff?
Good.
Is it doing what it's supposed to be doing?
Yes, I know there's been just a couple minor things, just adjustments as they're moving on to it, but the new processes will save staff quite a bit of time in
Okay.
preparation for payroll
Good.
and stuff. We don't have to prepare the paper, check stubs anymore. Everything's electronic. It's much easier for the staff. They can just log on and see their, check stubs, have access to the full year, going back. So it looks much smoother and much.
In the
simpler.
past,
So-
did the staff have to do that? If someone was like refinancing or needed to get like, a loan or something, you always had to show your like most current pay stub, all that kind of stuff. Did you guys
They
have
would
to
request
physically
it from-
do that?
They would
I mean,
request it
staff
from
had to
the-
do that and get the hard copy, so they don't have to do that now. If
Right.
They can.
They can just
That's
go right
great.
in self-service. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Good. Good. And the other one is just a personal question. Been seeing a bunch of things, at the end of the year, other libraries putting out like their top 10 checkouts. It seems like I've seen a lot more of those this year than I've seen in the past. Do we have something like that here? Or do we keep that type of data here?
Well, do you want to speak to this, Sasha, or, because,
I mean, it's a wish, it's a dream that, I proposed, Mike and Dana recently. Cause, I think we're in a very unique situation because we do a lot of things in-house, including managing the catalog and such, so, hopefully gonna be in the works. Can't promise anything, but it's something that I think would be really, really, really fun for the community.
Sure.
To share and be proud of the library
Yeah.
that they have and how many books they read and their favorite authors and so forth. So, what I would say, just to put on record, is what we're thinking of the information that I know thus far is there is a way in your account to opt into your reading history.
Mhm.
So we're thinking that you will have to opt in order for that information to be available. It's not available to us, the library. Privacy is very important to us, so we don't see that information, but we hope that on your end, you'd be able to click a button and the graphic or whatever.
I thought that was the default.
I think-
No, you do have to, it's such a nice thing, because you forget what you read. Yeah.
So that's good for the individual. I get
Yeah.
that. And there's
Huh.
privacy issues, but is there also a privacy issue of just like with the whole library? And I would take out the one book, one village one, because I think that would skew it.
Right.
But just, what are the top 10 books
We
that
should,
as a library is being checked out?
yeah, we should be able to get that information, and it might be something.
I do also want to mention, Mike, that, my team is working with collection services. This was pitched, by the head of the department. She's like, I can run any list for you. Like, would you guys be interested in doing something? So actually, my team is working on, a social media post where we hope to get individual staff members holding, like the best, physical copies, the best ebooks. We're including like our library of things. Like, I would love to see a staff member holding like a giant sewing machine to really put that message out there, to our customers that aren't aware that we maybe have certain items that they can check out at the library.
Okay.
I wonder, do we have access, like, I just ordered a book today from the Cook Library, through our connected libraries. Do you have that information too? Would that be in the system? But I'm opted in, so I know I checked it out through my library card, or Hoopla, or all that.
It's tougher to get information from the electronic resources. And, like Sasha said, we're very careful about any data that we
Right.
store.
Yeah.
We don't typically have access to, checkout information or any of
Right.
that stuff, unless you opt into that.
Mhm.
There's no history stored. But I do want to point out on page 3 of the director's report, the best books of 2023 that was shared on social media.
Mhm.
So we have like some book lists and stuff like that were shared.
That was the individuals, right? Who they like their best books. and
Yeah, I
stuff
think
like
that's
that.
right.
Right.
That was fun.
So-
The other thing that I've seen at other libraries, which I just always think is so cool, is when you check out books, it'll say, you saved $28 today because, as the
Yeah.
people that are, asking our community for tax money and get the questions about, my tax bill just came, wow, the library cost, blah, blah. I always try to encourage people to use the online newspapers, the magazines, the library of things, look at how much, take out books. And now with streaming, I'm still surprised, but you still can get DVDs at the library, even though it feels like there's a lot of streaming services for movies and stuff.
Sasha and I were also talking about that, thing on the
Yeah.
receipt, so, maybe something that we'll do in the future.
You know, and it could be a guesstimate, like the average paperback cost, whatever, the average hardcover cost, whatever, the average. Yeah, so it's not gonna be like perfect, but I just think I mean, I love that when I get my jewel receipt and I save $28, I feel good about what I just spent.
Yeah, and speaking of
Yeah.
DVDs, just, there is a lot available on streaming, but, sometimes you have to buy those series. They're like
Right.
$30 per season. So
Yeah.
come to the library and get the whole season and, so
Yes,
still market for it.
very good. All right, I think we are ready to go into closed session. May I have a motion to go into closed session?
I move that we go into closed session in accordance with 5 ILCS 120-2 C1 for the purpose of discussing executive director's performance goals and 21 reviewing closed session minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all right. Thank you. motion to return to open session for January 16th, 2024.
So moved.
So moved, all in favor? Aye.
I,
Okay. And now may I have a motion to approve the closed session minutes?
Quickly, make sure you're right. Make sure you're right.
To return to open session for January 16th, 2024. May I have a motion? Yeah, to return to open session,
oh, so.
right? Yeah, so moved. All in favor? Aye. All right, good. So,
So.
We did that, I
So,
think.
So-
yeah, so we had a motion on the table, motion on the
Okay.
table to approve the closed session
Yeah.
minutes.
second,
So, yeah, so I moved
just made a
that,
motion.
you made a
Yeah.
motion.
I'll second it.
okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Is
Um,
there any other?
Well, hang on. I'm gonna make another motion that we destroy the audio recordings and release the written minutes for the closed session minutes on October 19th, 2021, February 7th, 2022, February 15th, 2022, and April 4th, 2022.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye. All right. Now, I believe, unless anyone has any other, I will entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting of the Library Board of Trustees for January 16th, 2024. So moved. All in favor?
Second. Yep, Greg.
He second. Trustee Zig seconded.
I.
Aye.